everybody, and welcome back to episode 16 of Planet Zoo. I can't believe I have 16 of these episodes out, and I've watched a couple of the videos over the last couple days, last couple weeks, of the progress of this zoo, and it is impressive how much this has changed. I just kind of want to zoom out here before we really deep dive into the blaringly big obvious thing that's happened in this episode. Everything that you see right now was not there in episode 1. There was not one thing that was there in episode 1. Like, the layout is very similar. I think this exhibit right here is the only remaining thing in episode 1. And, of course, the roads. That's the only thing that's been unchanging since episode 1. So, and like the first 4 episodes, I think, because even the barn is gone. Let's go ahead and deep dive into this. So Aquatic Pack. This came out 11 months ago, almost. 10, 11 months ago. Came out December 4th, I believe, of last year. Yeah. It's been a minute. But, and I kind of want to talk about this as well, because it has been almost a year since I built this. I built this during the whole Aquatic Pack. Like, I built this during, like, that first week of Aquatic Pack. I remember building this exhibit, like the polar bear exhibit, before Aquatic Pack came out. And then I had like done all the rock work on it, and they came out with the faux rocks, I believe is what they're called. Yeah, these aquatic faux rocks. And I deleted the entire rock formation and redid it with the faux rocks. So like this was already in there because the polar bear came a part of the Arctic Pack, the first DLC. And so I wanted to put it in my zoo, and so like I had this exhibit built, and I believe even this, I think this is the Arctic fox, yeah, the Arctic wolf, and so these are not even aquatic DLCs, these are Arctic DLC animals. So I basically had this whole area done, same with this guy, like these all right here are not aquatic. But this area was heavily inspired by aquatic, and like the deep dive of the polar bears and everything. So, yeah, I think everything in here is really cool. I think this is the buffalo and the pronghorn exhibit. It is huge. It is very flat, and but I like these like snow-capped mountains. And just like the forced perspective of they don't look very big, but they look big. So yeah, and then they have their night house over here to access that backstage. Pretty simple night house. And then yeah, just a huge open grassland. If you watch my flight simulator videos as well, you'll know that I went to Yellowstone pretty recently. And honestly, it's big grassland that these guys have. It's pretty flat. So I wanted to give that to them. The Arctic wolf, I can't remember exactly my inspiration behind this. I think it was basically I had this exhibit, and I wanted it to fit in the Arctic wolf right here. So that's what I did. And it's a pretty simple exhibit, nothing special. The only thing that I would say maybe is special is this little viewing platform, which wasn't originally here. This is one-way glass, so you can't see into their den. You'll see these canopies a lot more throughout the zoo in the upcoming episode 17. Because that's something I didn't start doing until after I built this, almost 5 months after I built this episode. So yeah, so they this I'm gonna go back over to the polar bear, and I know I'm all over because it's been so long since I built this. So I knew I wanted a bridge that went over the exhibit, over the polar bear exhibit, into like an education center, and so that's what this building is. And I think these animal talks came out during. So like this building was not designed for animal talk, and but it just fit. And I also the heater system and the cleaning systems in this building as well. But yeah, this is where they would come and like have educational shows, and you could come in here and listen to those shows. And then you have this like pool, and the one big thing that I wanted is all of the water in this has a concrete bottom, so they could drain this and clean this out. And then they have like this fake waterfall because like there is no actual water going over it. I guess they possibly could, but and then they have a pretty deep pool here that is also concrete bottom. And then their den is under this. You can see the kind of the concrete roof, and just a small little den. They do go in and use it. Has quite a bit of chillers in there that they use, and then they have this area over here as well. So just a kind of complete circle around this education building, and yeah. So that is the polar bear exhibit. And then the reindeer exhibit, also very flat, or caribou exhibit, however you want to call it. This was converted, so I think this was the Gemsbach area before. Basically, I just redid the path because the path was straight here, and I think this is like the old fence line, so I just turned the Gemsbach exhibit into the reindeer exhibit. That's all I really did for this exhibit. So nothing special. The Grizzly Bear exhibit I actually did on a live stream, which is on my channel, so if you do want to go see that, you can definitely go see that. But I wanted it to kind of have that same feel as the black bear, the Folsom bear exhibit over in the Asia area, with a little river in it. It's just a little bigger, honestly, and it's in a ditch, and I do understand that, and I know that's not the best thing, but yeah. So this one, they have a little den right there, tons of opportunity for climbing. And then this building is simply so I could build a staircase down into the ditch, is really all it is. Because if you go into it, let's go into it. Yeah, see, it's just the building with a stupid path in it, or a dumb path. So, yeah, that's all that building is, and it's got a couple viewing areas. I think this is, other than it being, those penguins. Other than it being in a ditch, I think this is a really cool exhibit. It does have like a mud roof, but like you can see, it's obviously being filtrated in, and then it goes out through a filter. Okay, let's get over to the actual Aquatic Pack animals. There's two of them, and wanted to take full advantage of their deep dive. I remember when I built this, and I rewatched Emerald Gardens by Mass Bandit, and I took his inspiration a lot. One of his biggest things is just keep building, and sometimes it will come out great. And I think that's what this did. So I had just a huge pit, and I kind of just building. So these are seals, gray seals, and these guys are great. I went and built like some buildings back here. It's like this was a harbor, like a shallow harbor with like boats and everything. And then these buildings back here are like the harbor buildings. And then over here is the annoying emperor penguins, or king penguins. These guys' exhibit's really cool. I do understand, after building this, I understood that penguins are mostly an inside animal because they do have to be very cold. And I mean, it's 26 degrees out here. It's pretty hot for these guys. But jumping down in here, their deep dive area is pretty cool. Like you can see, it's got a little entrance into the indoor. This is all inside, so if we pop up, we're inside now. And then it's even got a deeper dive over here. One of the things I love about this exhibit, let's see if I can get it here, is this is the keeper. So it has a bridge over their deep dive to get the keepers in here, and I really like that. And then their viewing area in here as well. So one of the bigger buildings actually in the zoo right now is this building. And yeah. And then we have this just kind of separation, and this is where I put the exhibit animal right there. I think that's a Diamondback Turtle. Just a little tiny turtle. So honestly, that's my Aquatic Pack area. And I really don't have a whole lot to say just because I don't know what to say. I built it over a year ago, and I know that's kind of lame, but this is the part of the episode I want to focus on. So episode 17 basically changes a mass part of the zoo. Spoiler, this doesn't exist anymore. And I've redid a lot of different exhibits, like I've kind of adjusted a lot of them. Episode 17 is the filler episode between episode 16 and 18 is kind of the way. It's changing a lot of the good things. And it's honestly part 1 of part 2 episode, because I'm not going to finish what I'm doing. It's mostly like a South American area, tropical areas, maybe what I'll go with it. But in doing so, I've realized this aquatic area is not really what I want it to be. And this is what I really want to talk about in this episode. Is I'm going to change the format of episode 17 will stay the same because it's mostly built. I've been working over it the last 3 weeks. It's mostly built. I'm going to work on it for about another couple days. Probably when this video comes out, I'll start working on episode 18. But I'm going to change it up. I've been watching Mass Bandit's videos, and a lot of his were time-lapse builds of how he built it, and then halfway through his series, he changed it to be like update segments. And I want to do that. I don't want to just show what I've done. I want to show progress of how I got here. And so that's what I'm going to do in episode 18. I'm going to change up my format, for 1. And 2, I have some ideas of what to put in this area. This is completely different as well. And so that will be probably episode 19 is this, or it could be just 18 right here. But just I'm really having a fun time building in Planet Zoo. I just want to change up the episodes to make it more enjoyable for you guys, so I'm just not commenting and flying around the zoo and making the camera move a lot. I really want to kind of hone in and show progress over it. So let's I'm going to go ahead and what I was going to say, I think I'm going to completely redo this exhibit. Mostly because this is not deep enough for the polar bear's deep dive. And I honestly want to introduce North American animals in here. So like the moose I think is going to go in this exhibit. And get the reindeer out. I just don't love the reindeer. I like a moose better. So this is going to get reworked. The beavers are going to be introduced in this area. The prairie dogs, I think, are actually going to go in one of these areas, because I think prairie dogs, it's going to be like a small animals exhibit. So we're gonna have the prairie dogs and the meerkats in one, in like a side by side, and it's gonna be the small dog or the small animals. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where things continue to go here, um, and continue to progress here. Uh, yeah, so keep sticking around. Episode 17, like I said, is gonna be part one, kind of the same format, and episode 18 is where we'll have that new format, showing you kind of some different things. So until next time, thank you guys so much for joining me and hanging out with me today. We will pick it back up in episode 17 with our tropical exhibit over here. Till next time, see you guys.